Hi guys, Zabia here. Welcome to another interesting episode of the Fresh Gist Pod. As usual, this is the show where we talk about politics, music, fashion, lifestyle, and every single thing that interests you. On the show today, I'm joined by the wonderful Shalom Doing, aka Kila Shea. I'll be having a chit chat about the creative industry. Hi Kila.
Hi,
Nice to have you on the show.
thank you. Thank
I
you for
mean,
having
let me
me.
just spill the tea. So before the camera started rolling, everybody in the studio has been admiring your shoes. Like one person will enter, be like, Kila, I love your shoes. And somebody even pinched and say, these Kila shoes are really nice,
Yeah,
So
thank
is
you so
it you
much.
on a normal day or did you kit up for the show?
Yes, this is me on a normal day. I like to dress simple. That's why I'm wearing probably just one color. Yeah, so I don't like to mix up too many things. But yeah, this is
I mean, talk about creatives. Creatives
Yeah.
like dark colors generally.
yes.
I mean, I'm just going to open the show, on the need to dress properly. I was listening to a show, and the guest was George Omoraro. He's the head of Rich Circles. Rich Circles is a creative agency, and he was telling us how he went for an international conference, and on the first day he dressed down, nothing too serious, just joggers and a pair of shirts, and nobody was talking to him. Like nobody came to network with him. Nobody was giving him card or asking for his card. He was like,
Yeah.
you know what, I know what to do. The next day he put on a pair of suits, and like everybody that came across him complimented his outfit, and they all wanted to know like what he does and what brought him over to the conference. So I think I agree with it's good to dress comfortably, and it's just a strategy for like meeting good people, right?
True. Yeah.
Okay, so tell us a bit about yourself. Who is Kila Shea?
I'm a music producer and a sound engineer. I've been producing for a while, close to a decade in the industry.
So celebrate 10 years next year or when?
Yes, we celebrate 10 years this year.
This year.
Yes.
Interesting.
So since 2016, I've been producing. I'll say my first major break in the industry came around 2018 when I produced Heal the World for Patoranking.
Oh, I think I've heard this song.
Yeah, it was.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a
So
song.
that was like an aha moment for you, like, oh,
Yes,
okay.
yes. It was a moment that made me feel like, okay, this can be something major for me if I keep at it, and I've been on it since then, and it has been good so far. Yeah, had a couple other productions with other artists also, like Skills and Bayani. Yeah.
So I like to ask people, at what point did you realize that the creative industry is for me? I mean, I've been in the creative space for say 5-6 years now, and I wouldn't say that I was born a creative, or I'd always known along the way that I wanted to be in the creative space. So I like to hear people's story of when they felt like, okay, you know what, I want to be like, especially for you as a sound as a music producer.
Yeah.
At what point in your life did you know that the music space was your thing?
Music had always been my thing because I grew up in church. Early on, my dad got a teacher for us when we were younger. So I learned playing the keyboard when I was younger. But creating music or producing music, I picked up the desire for it when I was in school, when I was in the university. Yes, because there were a lot of young people who were like artists or were rapping or doing stuff, and personally I couldn't do those things. So I wanted to be involved in music, so I decided, okay, maybe I should learn production so I can work with these guys that are in school. So that was when I started. I started like a joke per se, because I learned the software by myself.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
All by yourself.
Yeah, by myself and watching YouTube videos. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So while I was in school, I was recording some artists, and I was like getting some money, small money from them coming to a small setup I had in my house to record. So I kind of saw it like, I feel like this is something, if I keep at it and I'm good at it, I could probably make money from it, and I could also be it was something I enjoyed doing, basically. Even without working with artists, I enjoyed making beats. I started recreating other songs. I started by recreating songs online. So it was something I enjoyed doing. So I just decided, okay, I think this might be something I can do to earn money also. And back then, the internet, like working with people online, was not a major thing back then, but it was becoming something that had potential. So I started posting my beats on SoundCloud. SoundCloud is a website that you can post music. So I started posting my beats on SoundCloud, and gradually I noticed that I started getting requests from people I don't even know, from different parts of the world, like, oh, I like this sound. I want to buy this beat. I want this. So before I finished school, I saw it as something that was that had a potential to sustain me if I get out of school. So I decided that I was going to do it full time when I leave school.
Oh, interesting. So there's a thin line between passion, creativity, and the need to like make money, and all of that. And there are so many people in the creative space that will tell you that, oh, they are here because from the outside, if you're not a creative, you just think automatically that the money is in the industry, right? So many people come into the industry for the money and not because they are passionate about it and all of that. So would you say the reason why you're still here 10 years later is because you are really passionate about the industry, or because it's giving you some kind of money that you don't think you can get from the corporate world?
Okay, yeah. I would say it's because I'm passionate about the music. If I wasn't passionate about the music, I probably wouldn't still be here. Because I got into production with okay, yes, there's the hope of you're going to make money out of it, but probably the money wasn't as much as probably I would have thought or expected. But the passion was what kept me going. And because I realized that in the industry, you have to like work and offer your service to people, and you might not always get money out of it at the early stage. But if you're passionate about it, you keep going because it's something you enjoy doing at the end of the day. And that's how it has been for me. I enjoy doing it, so it's not always about the money. The passion, the drive is always there to work with people, creatives, and to see what you created become something that people enjoy. It also adds to that passion and keeps the fire going for me.
So there's I was listening to a podcast earlier. I consume a lot of podcasts. So I was listening to a podcast earlier this morning, and a gospel artist was giving she was citing an instance where she doesn't think that she would want to collaborate with a secular artist. And I'm asking this question because you're a music producer, and I would assume that there are no boundaries for you. A gospel artist can come to you to produce beats for them, and a secular can come to you. So she was saying that she doesn't think that she would want to collaborate with a secular artist, and the reason is, as a gospel artist, she doesn't want to open up her audience to this person, because like with gospel artists, we know that online, even if it's just like show off, we know that they have morals, they have values, because they are all about God and all of that. And for like secular artists, there is no boundaries to like what you can do, and all of that. Nobody is keeping checks on you because you're a secular artist. So do you think that as in a creative space, right, we're supposed to come to a point where secular artists or gospel artists are comfortable collaborating with secular artists, just because we need to get to a point where there is like a smooth interaction between like both worlds, so it doesn't look like, okay, if you're a secular artist, you're automatically on the left side of life, and if you're a gospel artist, you're on the right side of. So do you think there should be a time where the two can mismatch or something?
I wouldn't say there's always a time when they will match, but there's I would say there's a time for everything. There are situations where gospel music and secular music in general, I would say Afrobeat music or Nigerian music can collaborate for specific reasons. Maybe not to put out like a song that is one way gospel or one way secular, probably for something that is humanitarian or something that could be for change or to speak about things that are happening in the society and stuff.
Or impact.
For impact, yeah, that could be necessary. And I don't think just because you're doing secular music, you should be sidelined, or if you're doing gospel music, you should be sidelined in situations like that. I think it's good for both worlds to
come together
meet at some point.
Okay, so as a music producer, which artists in particular have you worked with that you really look forward to, and what exactly did the person bring to the table that made you feel like, you know what, I think I really like this person's skills, you know, because you must have interacted with like a whole lot of artists over 10 years, and also who is that person in particular? And I want you to mention names.
Okay. I would say, because I worked with a lot of artists, both known and upcoming, and so I would say in recent times I worked with Bayani, and working with him, I kind of learned, I saw a different part of creativity from the part of a musician or from an artist, based on he's an artist that can work on the spot. Like, most artists, they want to hear the finished instrumental, the finished beats. Then they can pick some ideas from what you already created and they can start writing to it. Well, working with Bayani, he's someone that could write his music based on just a single note that he played from the keyboard.
He's that talented.
Yeah, he's that talented. He could listen to what you play. Maybe you just played a chord and he could get the idea to start writing. When I hear what he's also writing about, it also helps me to decide what comes next in the sound. And so I think lately working with Bayani has been one of those artists that was really inspirational for me.
So you said that one of like your aha moments is when you produced Heal the World for Party Ranking. And I've heard like people in the creative space complain of the fact that sometimes as either a music producer or, you know, just people behind the scene, right, behind the camera, complaining that they work with an artist and probably, you know, they're understanding with you don't have money, you're just an upcoming performer and they want to build with you, and then by the time they just get the audience, they forget the people that built with them, and then they now want to go for like the big shots, you know, leaving you. Did you experience any of this, you know, in your 10 years?
Yeah, I wouldn't say with Party Ranking though, because Party Ranking was already an established artist before I worked with him. But I would say in general, I've worked with artists who decided they wanted to work with other producers at the end of the day. And as a producer, I had to learn that working with people, you have to be confident in your skill and in your ability to create, no matter the situation, whether you're working with an established artist or an upcoming artist. And you shouldn't always lean or depend on the artist for your growth in the industry. Yeah, working with an artist should be beneficial for the both parties, but it shouldn't be dependent on one party for you as a creative to succeed. You should be able to think outside the box and think of more ways you can also grow, not just depending on artists. I'm not saying working with established, for example, if you work with an established artist, you get discovered faster by other artists, and you probably would want to work with other artists also, not just stay with that established artist you've been working with, unless, for example, you're signed with them. So I feel like the same way for artists also, even when they are coming up, they want to also work with established producers. And if you are a producer and you feel slighted because your artist you started working with
Working with.
decided he wants to work
To
with,
move on, yeah.
to move on, I feel like um, it depends on the kind of relationship you guys build, but I feel like it's not really good because it kind of limits you. You're supposed to be able to spread your tentacles also and try to grow. Yeah.
Okay, so in your 10 years of being in the creative space, what has been like your biggest challenge? Has it been a challenge that made you say, you know what, maybe I should just dust my CV and go and look for a 9 to 5 job?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge is if you're doing music full time, most people expect that you're making a lot of money, one from working with these artists, from royalties and all.
But I didn't know royalties for music producers.
There's definitely royalties for producers. But the thing is, I'm sure you've heard some people talk about the fact that royalty rates for song stream in Nigeria is much lower than what people get overseas and all around the world. So yeah, that also affects if the artist you're working with is more his audience or her audience is concentrated in Nigeria and these streaming numbers are coming from Nigeria, you probably won't make as much as you expect if you had a wider audience. So I think the major limitations or major issues I've had in the industry so far is basically earning out of your creativity. You have to do a lot of work. You have to work with a lot of artists. You have to have a lot of works out there to be able to really generate substantial money. But it also gives you the opportunity to diversify, not just focusing only from streaming, but doing other stuff, working for corporate bodies. There's also the opportunity to work in sync, like creating sounds that are used in movies and other stuff. So it's not just, as a producer, you shouldn't limit yourself to just one way of earning. That's what I think.
So Kilashe, what you're saying now is that you're still making royalties from Heal the World.
Yes, I still.
Hey, God, I beg.
Yes, but at the end of the day, people expect that you're making a huge money. It might not be a huge money.
So huge is relative, to be honest, because your own definition of huge might be, you're probably making billions, and we are just here thinking you're making hundreds of millions. So it's a relative word. So if your definition of making huge money is billions, but what you're actually making is hundreds of millions, please, do you mind sending something like that?
I think we can work something out.
Oh, interesting. So, is there any artist out there that you really look forward to making sound for?
Yes.
Maybe this is like a pitch, so you never can tell,
Yeah. There has been one artist I actually wanted to work with for a long time. Though the opportunity didn't present itself yet. I'm still working on it. That's Rema. I've always liked his sound.
Yeah, I love
because
Rema.
I think Rema came with a different direction with music when he came into the industry. And personally, I kind of like the direction his sound is about, or the direction he came with. And when I produce on my own, like stuff for myself, I kind of produce in that direction. But when you're working with other artists, you have to work with what they like. So personally, my kind of sound is, I feel like my kind of sound is the kind of sound Rema does. Yeah, so. Well,
interesting.
Yeah.
So are you doing anything to like maybe get his attention or something?
I was working with Mavin. I collaborated with a lot of artists in Mavin for a while. I tried to pitch sometimes, but I believe for things to work out, I don't really believe in forcing things. I believe things work out in specific times and when it's right. Though I make the effort, but I don't believe in forcing things. So I would say if it's going to happen, it will happen for sure. Yeah.
Interesting. So what would you say has been like your greatest blessing in, like 10 years in the industry?
Um, I think my greatest blessing has been being able to um, work with people that are at the peak in the industry, understanding the structure of the entertainment industry. Because when I got into the industry earlier on, I didn't really know people. I didn't grow up following people in the industry or working under another producer, or so I did not really know my way around the industry. But at a point, I got to meet some people. I got to work or spend a lot of time in Mavin. Mavin is like one of the major labels in Africa. So I got to understand a lot of things that goes on in the industry and how it happens. So I think it's a blessing for me.
It's a blessing,
because it helped me focus on a specific way to go about my career wise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So talking about like Maven Records, right? A while back, Boy Spice came to drag Don Jazzy. I mean, I love Don Jazzy.
Not Boy Spice. Was it Boy Spice?
Was not Boy Spice. Who dragged? There was somebody under their label that came out to say that they were using his glory. Was that not Boy Spice?
I don't think it's Boy Spice, but I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I mean, you know who I'm talking
but what's
about.
The question?
You know. Yeah. So saying that they use this, and these are like everyday issues we get to. It's not just particular to like Maven Records alone, right? So we hear young discovered artists sometimes coming up to say that their label did this or did that. Similar case to like Mobile and the Malian Records, and all of that. So would you say there's like a gap between management and artists? Would you say that record labels, because for instance, right, I was in a conversation with a particular gospel record label that wanted to sign an artist. She's young and she doesn't know, like, people don't really know her, right? So the conversation was, we're going to sign you, we'll give you an official car, would ensure that we build you up, would record like maybe 4 songs for you per year or something, right? So it looked promising because on her own, she can't give that to herself. She doesn't have the money to buy a car. She probably doesn't have the money to produce music videos for all of her songs and all of that. So they told her they were going to handle that. But I think the problem then came in what the revenue sharing was going to be like. I think the record label was asking for 80 or 70%, and then they were going to give her either 20 or 30%. And then she said no to that. So the record label owner got angry and said he's not going to sign her any longer, because he's like, if you think you have the money to build yourself, why have you not built yourself over time? Now I'm saying that I'm going to take you as raw as you are, refine you, and make you enviable for other people to see you, call you, give you platforms to perform, and I'm requesting for this amount of money and you're saying no to it. So do you think that I don't know if we would ever get to a balance, because I feel so from the perspective of the record label, right? I feel like they are investing in you. All of the money, they are probably, before they even start making returns on you, they probably must have invested hundreds of millions in you before you start bringing in money, right? So I understood from the part of the record label. Now from the artists themselves, right? Yes, I did not have the platform to, and you brought me up to, but it doesn't mean that if I've gotten to this stage, then you're taking like 70%. It's like monkey they walk, baboon they chop, right? So what's like your take on it? Do you think that in cases like this, like the record label owners are just being too greedy, or is it the artists that are not being grateful enough?
As an artist or as a creative, if you're going to sign with a company, it's, at the end of the day, it's business. People are doing business, so you have to understand the business part of things if you're going to sign with a label. For example, if you're signing as an artist that's relatively unknown, basically they're taking you like raw talent. They might not give you a fair percentage in your contracts, probably at the early stage. But understanding, if you're an artist and you understand how business works, I think when you're signing, there should be room for renegotiation. Yeah, there should
At a point.
At a point.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you sign for example, if you're signing for a 10-year deal, I don't know who will sign for 10 years.
But I mean, you can sign for 5.
Yeah, if you're signing for a long period, there should be room in your contract for renegotiation. For example, maybe you signed for 5 years and within the first 2 years you blow up and you've made a lot of money for your labor already.
Yeah.
There should be room to renegotiate your contract. And then I feel also on the part of the labels, they are doing business, and signing an artist in this day and age, it's close to like taking a gamble. There's no guarantee that the artist is going to blow up and recover your money.
Yes.
So if most people who gamble, they gamble because if you win your gamble, you're going to make a lot of money. But if you lose your gamble, you lose your capital.
Yeah.
So the labels are also trying to make their money or recover their money. So I think it's more like understanding on both parts. Yeah. And you talked about people who feel like someone is using their glory and all that. Well, we don't know what they say. The industry is dark and a lot of things go on. I do not know about that, but I believe if you're part of the industry or if you're going into the industry, you should be prayerful and you should pay attention to the spiritual part on your own part, per se. Yeah, and make sure you keep your head straight at all times. Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you for giving us like that balance, between record label especially and then the artist. I was thinking you're going to come for the record label owners and say, oh no, but I like the fact that you give like a balance to the both of them, because I mean at a point the record label is also losing, and then at a point they're gaining when the artist blows up. So there should just be like a ground for like renegotiation at every point in time. Okay, so before we wrap up on the show today, 10 years before now, this is like you've not gotten to like the point where you are before, and then you're also striving to like make a name for yourself in the creative space and everything. So like to the young boy out there, watching you and hoping to be a sound engineer and a music producer, and it's just going through life, because you would always go through life before you become successful. What do you have to say to him?
I would say focus on what got you started. Focus on what's your drive and not on how much you're going to make. Because if you focus on how much you're going to make out of it, you probably get discouraged along the way. So I'll say focus on growing your skill and focus on growing your talent and keep your drive. Keep what got you started going. Yeah, that's what I think every young person that is in the creative industry needs to. Because there are a lot of people also in the industry that will want you to, that might take advantage of you and take advantage of your skill, of your abilities. And if you're not patient, you might draw back and get disappointed. But I believe if what got you started at the earlier stage is authentic, you won't give up at the slightest sight of stress or whatever.
Focus on your skills, focus on your drive, and in the end it's surely pay off. Thank you so much, Killer Shay, for coming on the show. So this is where we draw the curtain on today's episodes. Like, watch other interesting episodes, follow us across Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and every other social media pages. Until we come your way again next time, bye.